I'm sure you would have seen a letter circulating from TADCO telling workers that their contracts have come to an end and they now need to reapply for their positions if they wish to continue with the company. Now, to kind of clear up whatever misconceptions that are within the space and to give us a bit more perspective, we are joined by Chairman of TADCO, Mr. Ricardo Alfred. Good morning and welcome to you, sir. How are you doing this morning?
Yes, good morning, Kandace, and good morning again to everyone in Tobago.
All right, so first of all, tell us about what led to us at this point in time where we are now telling workers that their contracts are not going to be automatically renewed.
Right, so what has happened is important that we go back a few steps. So TADCO was formed in 2020. It was an amalgamation of three companies. These said three companies, and not my view or opinion, based on a report that was done by previous persons, these three companies were not productive and they formed TADCO. So they took all of the workers from these three companies and placed them into a company called TADCO. Normally, in any merger, you're supposed to do a rationalization as relates to job description so that you don't have persons with duplicate jobs. What is happening at TADCO in my tenure since 2022 is that we would have done a, a manpower audit to determine what the staff qualifications are. Staff, we will have several conversations with staff as to let them know, please come in, bring in your up-to-date resume, bring in all your qualifications so that these things can happen. Right now, you have a case where you have persons in positions that they should not be in. You have qualified persons with masters working as secretaries. You have persons with managers with all various types of range of compensation package. There isn't no transparency there. However, they were in a contract period. So we had to be able to have some stuff going forward as relates to show transparency. You had a vessel operations officer working in accounts. You had, it was a clear guideline that they were not some stuff. Some managers came to us and said that this one is making more than this one. So we had to be able to fix this problem. So what is going to happen is that next week, all of the positions will be available. More than likely, you would have probably all of the staff coming back into some positions or higher positions because during that time, persons would have engaged in further studies and did some other work and try to elevate themselves so they are better fit in other positions. But we have to ensure that the process is done transparently. It will be open to everyone to apply. What is happening, me as the chairman, even if I'm not the chairman tomorrow, I can still be called before to answer questions as relates to the Public Life Act. I can also have to answer questions because I have to show a clear direction. I have to show transparency. I have to show documentation so that in the event of anything, there's proper paper trail going forward. We have to ensure, it's very important that we ensure transparency. Persons were not, I don't know, persons were saying that they were sent home. They were not sent home. The contract just simply came to an end, which is standard, and then you have to reapply if you want to continue.
Is it that all the contracts came to an end at the same time?
Yes, about 50 positions. And going forward, you would have a staggered contract. So you have persons coming on at different times to ensure that the company has continuation so that this, what is happening now, does not happen again.
So, okay, so we're going to have some 50 people, thereabouts, not going to be able to continue with their positions.
No, they are. So what is going to happen? You would have persons kept on a month-to-month basis on pending interviews. So what is going to happen? The positions will be advertised. There will be a shortlisting process. Persons will be now interviewed, and then they will go into positions at different intervals to ensure that all the contracts don't expire at the same time. You see, when you have persons who want to do better or want to elevate themselves, they must be rewarded. A lot of this TADCO have excellent staff, but I believe that some of them should have been compensated more. But however, it's not something that I can just do like that. It must go through a process to ensure that there's continuity.
So yeah, I want you to explain that a bit because maybe some people are saying that a better approach could have been taken instead of something that seems so like cut and dry. Because people are wondering. I mean, because of the fact that the positions, the future positions, are now up for grabs by anybody. There's no guarantee that the people that would have been employed by TADCO and the previous companies for however length of time, they may not be able to continue working.
So what is happening? Again, in 2022, when I came on as chairman, I met with the staff and I would have advised them that after seeing the audit of the positions of persons, I would have advised them that, listen, at the end of the day, I need persons to go and elevate themselves, right? Persons would have done that, and I'm very happy that persons did that. Some persons now have their masters and could be better placed in positions. All of the positions with the workers at TADCO, they have an advantage because they have the experience. All I'm saying, let the process happen because we need to show transparency so that anybody be called before any type of inquiry or any stuff that transcend my duration there, we can be able to say this is what was done. Because persons may not be aware that when the police came to Tobago to do this alleged propaganda issue, they came to TADCO, they requested documents, they wanted to know what was our hiring practices. So they are doing their work and we have to ensure that we do the right thing, which is to ensure that the positions are available to the persons who want to apply for it. The persons at TADCO are great workers, but all I'm saying, let us go through a process. Let the file be updated. You have persons with qualifications pending 3 years, but they're in a contract. You have persons who have masters, but persons with certificates making more than them. You have persons who are trained in one area, but they're working in another area. But the position says X. We have to fix the problem. It's the only way.
So you're willing to keep a lot of the staff that are presently there?
I would not say I'm willing to keep. What I would say is that they have an advantage. They have the advantage of taking the same position. All I'm asking for is transparency in how the process is done.
Mm-hmm. And then how long we would expect the downtime in terms of employment? How long would they be, how long would the process take before they can?
This process will take an average of maybe 2 months to ensure that there's proper staggered contracts, right? So that in the case of when it happens again, you have persons going on at different times. So you have a proper continuation of the organization. And this is what needs to happen.
Now, what about in terms of notice for the workers? Because I heard a complaint that, because there wasn't the normal 45-day notice to know that
45-day notice. That's for termination.
Yes.
But a contract is a legal binding agreement, right? It might be verbal, it might be written, but it is binding. Everyone knows their date of contract. On May the 19th, we would have let persons know that, hey, what your contract coming to end, come in and update your resume. A memo would have gone out again. Please write if you want to come, if you want to continue. So when persons say that, that's not true at all. Everyone knows their start date and end date. It's there, plus they were reminded numerous times about it. What we have to ensure, I am not terminating anyone. There's no redundancy here. I just want to be clear on that 45 days issue. Persons know their start date and they know their end date. It was clearly ventilated. Plus, I had a meeting with the staff last Thursday, letting them know the direction. We have to ensure transparency. You see what is happening now? I do not want it to be a case where we are continuing with a practice where you're just giving someone a job, because you have to ensure transparency. It is the only way it will work. Again, I am quite pleased with the staff at TADCO. I'm letting them know that right now. However, there will be persons who may want to apply for other positions, and we have to give them that opportunity. I can't just say, okay, I'll put you in that position. You have to be a process. You have to be interviewed.
Now, in a situation where we know that TADCO has, not had all the resources that, you wish that you would have, and there is a high wage bill. Now, with adjusting the figures or adjusting where employees are going to be, and especially with people that have elevated educational status and that sort of thing, which comes with a higher pay grade. Now, how are you going to balance those changes, which would in fact be paying people more?
So keep in mind that when we came to TADCO in 2022, the rates, the rental rates were like $5 per square foot. The cold storage was like 29 cents per kilogram. And we had to do ways of generating income in terms of making the company profitable. The capital of Paradise was down for 5 years, almost 5 years. We had to make it profitable. I can say that TADCO would have generated, in terms of the capital of Paradise, over 200,000 US easily in the space of months, I would say. And we have to be able to know how we do work with our revenue. The food hub, someone rented the space to do an all-force tournament. These are stuff that we have to make the company diverse. I want TADCO to have an IPO where persons can now buy stock as relates to TADCO. TADCO is a diverse company. We are not just involved in agriculture, we are involved in everything. By making the company diverse, and because we are in conversation with certain banking entities, they told us, make sure everything is in place, make sure our organizational structure is in place, make sure there's the HR policy is in place, make sure our finances are in place. 71% of the current operational budget is staff. You have persons who are on contracts making overtime. You have persons who are in positions that they should be in a higher position.
I want you to explain that a little bit. Just to put some context on that. That there are people that you are paying people overtime for that are on contracts.
Yes.
How does that work in the context of the law?
So when you're on contract, you would have an agreed payment in which you are supposed to be compensated. What is happening going forward, you would have things like a responsibility allowance, which is normally 15% of your salary, and then you have an additional allowance, which is 20% of your salary. These types of, what I'm saying here already exists, right? So if you are a driver or something and it's expected that you would be doing stuff beyond the working hours, the responsibility allowance will now come in. If you are acting in a higher position, you get an additional allowance. You see, we need to put these structures in place. And going forward, there is going to be a manual, right, as relates to how everything is governed, from the sick leave, how you take study leave, everything. It's going to be a policy that persons can now go back to and follow. And this is what we have to show to interested investors, that what the company is going and the direction. Currently at TADCO, should any country close to Tobago have any kind of natural disaster, I could safely say that Tobago will be able to assist that country. We can provide them with a commodity, which is the meat, and we have a vessel to take it there.
Now,
go ahead.
I want to just go back just a little bit to a little point that you made about the fact that that the employment situation at TADCO might be discouraging to other investors that might be wanting to partner. Could I get a bit more context on that?
So, in going forward, we are looking at the foreign direct investment from various institutions outside of Tobago, and where we have to show our books, where we have to show the organizational structure. We have to include things now like procurement, because it's a law. The capital of Paradise, the crew and all that stuff was not included in the organizational structure, right? We have to include these things. Again, you have persons working as a vessel operations officer, but they're working in accounts. That's their background is in accounts. So you see the kind of confusion. We have to show to these entities that so this company is serious, this is what we are doing, so that they can therefore want to invest. They're talking about multiple millions investments. They have to be sure that our structure in place internally.
All right. Well, when we come back from the break, we're going to get a bit more into how TADCO is going ahead. Is it safe to say that you are restructuring? Is that correct, or?
I would say that we are just what the title says. We're in a new direction.
A new direction.
Yes.
All right. So we're going to get more into that new direction that TADCO is taking when we come back with Mr. Ricardo Alfred. So please don't go anywhere.
I say, thanks a favor to wake up and hear me neighbor. 60 yeah. Hey.
Tobago updates. Good morning, Tobago.
Welcome back to Good Morning Tobago on Tobago Updates. Viewers, we are continuing our conversations this morning with the chairman of TADCO, Mr. Ricardo Alfred, as we discuss what's happening there, the new direction of the company, which means that over 50 workers their contracts are coming to an end, and now they have to reapply for their positions or other positions within the company. Now, before we went into the break, we were talking quite a bit about how the positions are aligned, how there are lots of people that are working in positions that they're not necessarily qualified for. There's a lot of it was when the three companies were amalgamated into TADCO, it was done in a bit of an ad hoc manner.
Yes.
That that there's no clear processes in place as to why people were placed where they are. So, Mr. Alfred, I just want you to put it into dollars and cents. What are we looking at in terms of, when you say that there are people that are working in positions that they may not be fit for?
Right. So coming on to TADCO, we would have been able to separate the company into three parts. You have the sales and marketing, the feed shop, and then you have the cold storage part. Each one of these entities, we can know what is the staff structure in terms of salary versus how much they're bringing and their qualifications. You have the packing house, which consists of a few workers that are on a daily paid structure. We have to fix that because these staff down at the packing house are excellent workers. They are called upon to do numerous work and they come out willingly, but they are on a structure where as a temporary worker. So they are paid daily. If they don't work on certain days, they don't get paid. We have to fix that. We have equipment that they are going to be trained in that came in from China that was never really used. We don't even have the manuals. So we are now in a space where these same said persons will be trained and they'll be geared and have some meaningful value for themselves and for the company. And they can have a contract in their hand to say that this is what they are doing. You have persons as secretaries working with 5,000 who have their masters and stuff. And then you have
like $5,000, but they are qualified.
Yeah,
with
they are qualified with up to the master's level. And then you have persons who are less than that, working on upwards of 9. So the salary ranges at TADCO is quite odd. It ranges from 5,000 to 45,000. And we have to be able to bring some sort of balance throughout the entire industry. However, they were in a contract period, and there's certain things that we can do. As I said, a contract is a binding document. So there is going to be a change as relates to how persons are compensated. There is going to be a change in how persons are given job descriptions. But it is open to persons. But I am going to be engaged, and I have already engaged information from persons from the NESC and get those persons placed at TADCO where they could actually provide refrigeration training, provide electrical, provide auto repairs. It is very important we get these people involved so that there's a transition, that there's a proper succession planning. We're going to be engaging persons in terms of training. I know one of my directors, Mr. George, we're adamant that we should look at persons and graduates from ECIAF, on an internship program to come in to assist what we are doing with the agricultural sector. These things are critical. However, we have to put the policies in place now to be able to see the bigger future. The Cabo Star shut down, persons talking about they have this. We at TADCO were able to provide chicken to a local fast food outlet throughout all their restaurants and have enough for persons, for restaurants and stuff like that. And we have enough still that if there's a disaster in some country, we can actually contribute. So this is the direction in which we have to go. You have the livestock sector. Persons were trained how to slaughter their own animals manually. They were trained now how to do specialty cuts that we all love. The different cuts, the ribs, the shoulderless legs with the boneless lambs, and so we are ensuring there's no other entity that provides more training than what we have done for the agricultural sector. I am appealing to all the associations. Come, let's have a discussion as relates to taking the product further. I want more agro-processors to come on board, but be willing to work with us. Be willing to want to advance your space. We are looking at a space up at Louisville. An assessment was done where persons will have access to commercial space for rent and using these equipments where they could actually have a better product. I want to see a local chicken nugget. I want to see a local chicken tenders. I want to see these things. And I want to thank all of the Tobagonians and the business persons who would have continued to support us. I want to thank the poultry farmers. I understand that there's a slight issue, but I would definitely give you assurance that between today and tomorrow, everything will be sorted out in terms of some payments for them. I will personally get that sorted out because we have to be able to work with these persons. The livestock guys, Mr. McFarlane, the president of the Integrated Association, Miss Vanessa. I'm quite happy by what the direction we're going. It's going to be a lamb festival. Someone rented the food up to do an all-fours tournament. we are not involved in that all-fours.
Yeah, I think we need to clear that up
yeah.
because it's been touted that you are spending money on an all-fours tournament, but now you are letting go of people.
in every aspect of development, you're always going to have a distraction. You're always going to have persons creating problems that there is. But it is all fine. You would always have these persons who would not contribute where they should contribute. And I want to pay recognition to the Minority Council because I was quite moved by his appeal to the Port Authority and to the other entities to get the act in order. So I must commend him on that. It shows great leadership. And now you're going to be having persons who never said anything commenting. But that is all well and done. But I want to really commend him for that leadership that he would have took to come out and speak on it. So that shows great leadership. And to everybody in the business community who would have come out and speak on the matter. But what I saw that he did, I give him kudos for that. Because it shows that he is a leader and it shows that he did well. But separate to that now, we have to be able to see, it should not be Tobago in a space where if the boat don't work, that we're suffering. How do we fix that? And by doing all these measures that we are doing at TADCO, is to definitely ensure that when you buy a foreign chicken, the person who grows the chicken, wherever they are, is already paid. The hatchery is already paid. The person who processes it is already paid. Where it is packaged is already paid. When it ships to whatever is already paid. And then when it comes to the consumer, you buy it. Where is the local capacity there? That is what the difference is, with these projects that we are doing. It's all geared at building a better Tobago, building a brand where persons can now have a special product.
And how would this new direction of TADCO, especially with the realignment of workers, contribute to us building a better brand here in Tobago?
In every business, if your human resource is not adequate or efficient, you're wasting time. If you have nowhere to go, any road will take you there. So our vision is that we have to fix the issue with some of the workers, ensure that they get what they're supposed to be getting, and ensure that there's transparency in the process.
And have you been speaking to the workers? Have you been having these conversations with them to let them know what is this new direction and how they can come on board with it?
Well, persons would have reached out to me. Persons would have said, I recently did this, I recently did that. Persons would have said, well, how come this one getting paid more than me? And I would have to remind them, I said, guys, in the new structure or in the new alignment of what we are doing, we can only fix it. Just keep in mind that you would have signed a letter of offer saying that you are getting pay X. Now we have to fix it and make it standard across the board and ensure that persons do what they're supposed to do.
And what's been their reaction since?
Some of them are quite happy. Some of them are quite happy and some well, So let me explain this as well. We will also be taking experience as a qualification because it goes hand in hand.
Yes.
Experience is a qualification. It could be a case where all of the same persons are back. However, it will show on record that there was a process done. And that's all we're asking for. That's all I'm asking for. Then let that process be done. I cannot take you and say, okay, I'm giving you back this and I'm going to make you this manager without how Whether I'm called before any kind of ethics or any form of um, integrity commission or anything that is out there as relates to misbehavior in public office, I have to be able to say, this is what was done, these are the procedures, and this is what was followed. We have to be able to follow these directions.
And have you consulted legal advice before you engage in this?
So let me just be clear. Anything that we do with TADCO, whether it be MOUs or whatever, the staff at the State Council office are always willing. I must give special recognition to them and Sir Anderson and Miss Leslie Gray. They are excellent workers. We cannot have done most of our stuff without their direction. And I'm quite happy and grateful for what they have gone. You see, you have TADCO now, where you had workers who had contracts from 8 to 4, right? If we are dealing with the agricultural sector, that's a 24-hour job,
It is.
right? We have the Saturday operations where persons are now have time to come out on a weekend to buy. So we have to structure the organization towards these things, and train persons about business. Because TADCO is a company at the end of the day. You're not employed with the TH, you're employed with TADCO. There's a big difference, There's a big difference. So this direction would have persons now wanting to come on board, persons now would be elevated, and persons who would now said, I want to be part of this. There are a few persons who have opted not to renew their contracts, and that is all fine and done. Sometimes persons move along a path that is not fitted for them. So we have to accept that. So there's going to be, and there's going to be some change, but this is the direction that we have to have. We have to you have to have the processes and the things in place to ensure that there's proper transparency and to avoid any issues that could have happened tomorrow or later on in the future.
All right, good. Well, I want to thank you so much, Mr. Alfred, for being on with us and for giving us a perspective on what's been going on for what is certainly a very sensitive time for the workers of TADCO. And we're looking forward and we're hoping that we can see some positive results out of this.
Yes, thank you very much.
All right, so viewers, please don't go anywhere because we've got quite a lot more coming up for you on the program. See it.
The energy fill the skies. I say